Hey everybody, it's your boy, and I'm going to be talking about some pop culture stuff because, well, I am meant to be covering that stuff anyway. And today's video is a little bit more personal because this anime that's been adopted into a American live action show is an anime that's quite close to my heart, Cowboy Bebop. And let's just say right off the bat that what we've seen so far from the adaptation is just, well, quite frankly, appalling. It's terrible. And coupled with the baiting from the actress who's playing Faye Valentine, well, let's just say that they're courting hate from the original fans in order to drum up some press for it, to get some buzz around the show, because if people just took one look at it and didn't overreact, and then react to the bait from said actress and writers, well then they wouldn't have much to go on, there wouldn't be any buzz, it would flop. But instead, because of the fan base naturally trying to defend what they think is a more superior product, which the original is, and the original vision of the creator, this is becoming something where the remake is probably going to do pretty well on Netflix. So first off, what actually is going on with the remake? Well, there's been talk about this for years. Originally there was going to be a live action film starring Keanu Reeves, I believe, as Spike. Instead, they've cast the guy from Harold and Kumar, who's Korean, who's going to play a character who's called Spike Spiegel, who, if he's not Jewish, he's half Jewish, half Japanese. Because in anime, unless otherwise stated, they're all Japanese. He's a Korean, which is even more baffling, but it's not the first time this guy's played a Japanese character. He is the new Sulu, after all. Then they got a African American to play, who is very obviously a Japanese character, but because the character is big and slightly dark, I guess to the Americans that means he must be black, which doesn't make sense, or it could be yet more diversity casting. And then they cast Faye Valentine, and this is where people really got angry, because not only is the actress a raving SJW, she also neutered the character, because the character is a classic femme fatale, or at least dresses like the classic femme fatale of film noir and other genres. She dresses in stockings and short shorts, and a very short jacket / shirt. In the new one, she's literally covering herself up wearing jeans and high boots. So you can see why some people are getting annoyed because of the climate that we're in, where women can't even be depicted as showing just a little bit of flesh, because that's sexist apparently. We can't have beautiful women showcasing their beautiful bodies, yet we can have beautiful men showcasing theirs and it's A-okay. Just shows the absolute state of modern Hollywood, where they have just the most insecure feminists running the whole thing. And then said actress decided to bait the fans and saying that if you don't like it, you're sexist, you're this, that and the other, the usual come up. We all know what they're going to do when stuff like this happens, when there's a backlash. And I can't help but feel that all of this backlash was provoked by the actress, by the people that are creating it. In fact, maybe even the casting itself was provocative in order to get this reaction, because clearly they'd written it before they'd even cast it, and let's just say it's going to be a dud. We all know it's going to be a dud. It's never even going to compare to the original, even if it's good. So what are they going to do? They're going to drum up some controversy, because any publicity is good publicity, especially if it's negative. He-Man and She-Ra are classic examples. If nobody really reacted to it and didn't give it all the publicity that it wanted on Twitter and God knows where else on social media, they would flop. Instead, they're probably going to get even more seasons now as a result of that backlash, because normies are going to watch it and think, well, what's all this about? Oh, this isn't so bad, because normies have bad taste. The same thing is going to happen to Cowboy Bebop, and also another anime show that I like, though it's not high up on my list, One Piece. That is also trying to bait people. The only thing that we can do as fans of this original Japanese media is simple. Don't react. Don't give them any clicks. Don't give them publicity. Ignore it. Let them wallow in obscurity. It's really that simple. The more you bite, the more the clicks they get. The more clicks they get, the more people will be interested in watching it just to see how bad or good it might turn out to be. And that segues neatly into the reviewers who represent the fans who are against this kind of stuff, because yeah, I know, it's their job to review this, to criticise it, and to try and make the industry better. But the problem is, a lot of them watch it legitimately, when they should be sailing the high seas. Instead, they're literally buying a Netflix account, or using the Netflix account that they already use, and clicking on the thing to watch, and then they review it. That's not what we should be doing. We shouldn't even be giving them the courtesy of adverts or clicks or whatever it is that Netflix needs to make money off these shows. We should be doing our very best not to give them money, because the more money they get, the more likely they are to do more things like this, because the higher ups will think, well, it's working, let's just keep going. And again, Kevin Smith himself said that the higher ups don't particularly care as long as they're getting people watching, whether or not a few people who are diehard fans complain. And also the constant videos they make about these terrible shows, which we know are going to be terrible anyway, will drum up yet more publicity for it, because these people tend to go viral. They have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and these people will be sharing it on their Twitter and Facebook, God knows what else, and that will make people curious, people who don't really have an opinion, and they'll go and watch it, when the last thing we really want them to do is to watch it. Because yes, you may think that a bad review or bad talk will make people question whether or not they should watch it, but not necessarily. Sometimes that does the opposite effect. And these very reviewers, these commentators, will tell people, don't watch it, and then go and watch it themselves, because in their words, they want to see how bad it is, and they don't even pirate it. Maybe some do, but the vast majority, they're just idiots and do the very opposite of what they preach. Starve them of attention, starve them of clicks, and you've won. A film dies when it has no publicity, when it has no good word of mouth, or any word of mouth at all. A film survives based on word of mouth, whether that be good or bad. Sometimes films can be successful even if the word of mouth is bad, because people will want to see this so bad it's good experience, when we don't want that at all. If anything, you want the least amount of word of mouth as possible about these TV shows and films, so that they die a horrible death, and so that these studios can no longer go off this psychic profit that they have, because they do this less for the money and more for their own feels. And we want to make sure that they do start to feel that financial strain where they can no longer ignore it, because there's only so much that virtue signaling can do to make you feel good when you're starting to lose so much money that your company is about to go bust. And the thing is, they'll continue making it because they know people will watch it, because they want to know how bad it is. This is what happens in video games. It's the same thing. People will complain about the next COD, the next this, the next that, the newest social justice walking simulator, and people will go and buy it just to see how bad it is, thus repeating the cycle. Break the cycle, guys, and you will win. So anyway, until next time, it's been your boy, and I'll see you all later.